What's going on, good people? We are one day away. One day away from Giants football. What the players say? The players always say what? One more sleep. We are one more sleep away from the Giants season opener against the Washington Commanders. And I'd be lying if I didn't have a little anxiety. I'm anxious. I'm optimistic. I have expectations. Any kind of emotions that you can go through as a human being, I'm going through right now, especially the whole week. It felt like it took so long for this week to go by. And again, we still got one more day. We still have one more day. Shout out to everybody that tuned in for the War Room. I had the Commander fan. Shout out to my man Deuce that was able to vibe with me a little bit for that show. Shout out to the chat that was going crazy. I didn't have to throw any punches myself because the chat was throwing all the punches for me. But with that being said, I'm ready for this game tomorrow. I'm so ready to finally see what these New York Giants are made of this year. I'm so excited to see how this offense looks, what this defense is going to look like, what the offensive line is going to look like. We're still messing around and playing around with the tease of Andrew Thomas could possibly be playing and stuff like that. So I don't think it's going to happen. But at the end of the day, they haven't ruled them out officially yet. But man, when I think about what this game could mean for the New York Giants, it's just that first step of crawling out of the basement. And I wouldn't pick another team to do it against. Like, it's crazy too, because it sucks that it has to be you, but it really doesn't suck that it has to be the Washington Commanders. They're just number one on the list. They're just the first step. They're just the first obstacle that the Giants have to go through. And I'm excited for that too, man. Shout out to the Fan Fest. I saw some clips of the Fan Fest. Shout out to everybody that was in the building. My man Mark Stewart threw up some clips. I seen OMG out there as well. Section 330 was in the building. It was a lot of people that I saw put up some clips yesterday on social media. Then I saw the videos that the Giants put up as well. They had, Leak out there, Tracy out there, Russ out there, of course. Then you saw Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau out there as well. Shout out to Brandon London and Madeline Burke for keeping the crowd hype. But yeah, man, just that feeling of football. Giants football is right here. We had a good 2 games to start the season, kick off the season with the Cowboys and the Eagles, and then last night with the Chargers and the Chiefs, and it just gets the blood pumping for what's going to happen tomorrow with all the rest of the games that are going to be played. But with that being said, hello and welcome to Big Dash Knows. Big Dash knows what? New York Giants football. Let's go. Let's talk about this game now. Let's get into this game and some of the keys to victory and how I expect or what I expect to see, from this offense and from this defense. Let's start with the Washington Commanders. Obviously, Jaden Daniels in year 2, I don't believe he's going to fall into any kind of sophomore slump. And I actually don't want him to fall into a sophomore slump. I don't want any excuses. And I've been saying that for a long time. I don't want any excuses when it comes to the New York Giants beating their opponents and beating up the NFC East. I watched Dallas, I watched the Eagles, and I watched both of those defenses. And I felt even more confident about the New York Giants. Now, again, I have to see these guys play tomorrow, especially their offense. But if we can put up points, I think this defense can hold off or hold teams, to under 20 points a game. I think we're good enough to do something like that. And if we can do that, I think we're actually going to win more games than a lot of us expect. Maybe not a lot of us, but I know a lot of people have us in between 6 to 7 wins. I got us between 8 and 9 wins. Some people got us as high as 13 wins. And I can mess with that. But it just all depends on if we can get the offense to score points. Because even last year, our defense was able to get a few turnovers. We did lead the league in sacks early on in the season, and we got even better on the defensive line. So if we are improved like we feel we are improved, especially as a defensive unit, I expect the offense to get the ball more opportunities to score. And with more competent, better quarterback play, we should be able to put some points on the board. Now let's the Commanders. Jayden Daniels. Containment is the first thing that comes to my mind. You got to be able to contain Jayden Daniels. Now, some people to tell you that maybe we use Abdul Carter as a spy. I think he's capable of spying. But also, when you think about a spy is sitting there and waiting for the quarterback to make the move as a threat to run. And if we give Jayden Daniels time, he'll pick us apart. So I don't know if it's necessarily a spy type of concept for the New York Giants that works best against Jayden Daniels, because again, you got a guy that has the threat, though has the ability to run, a high ability to run, but he can also make all the throws. So do you really want your guy sitting back in containment, or do you want this guy getting pressure on the quarterback? And some people will say, well, I expect to get pressure from Dex up the middle. I expect to get pressure from the outside on Burns and Thibodeaux. But I'm just sitting here thinking, like, maybe not every play. Like, I think we're going to be able to get pressure with 4, but there's going to be some plays out there where the front 4 might not be able to get there, and the coverage on the back end is going to have to do their jobs. But when you got that guy like Abdul Carter and you want to put him in that spy role, I'm thinking like, no, I want him pressuring Jayden Daniels, because just think about it right now. You got Dex up the middle pushing the pocket. That's the scenario. Him and, whoever else they line up on the defensive line. It could be Roy Robertson Harris. It could be Darius Alexander. It could be Nacho. It could be, Abdul Carter when they line him up inside. But, you should be able to get a push on the inside. They're missing their starting right guard and Cosme. They're moving some people around. They got Connolly playing right tackle now, and they push Wiley in at right guard. So they made some moves to that offensive line, but they have not seen, and also they have not played too much in this preseason. So these are going to be pretty much their first time getting some live reps and some live action. Unfortunately enough for us, Brian Dable decided to play the starters even more than I thought he was this summer. And I think that's actually going to help us, be a little bit quicker to the ball tomorrow. But outside of containing Jayden Daniels, the one thing that I saw last year, especially in these Commander games, is we got to finish. We got to finish at the point of the tackle. We have to finish our tackles. There were so many tackles that were missed. There were so many tackles that were broken, whether it be Jayden Daniels that broke the tackles or the running backs that broke the tackles. We have to finish. So first key is being able to contain Jayden Daniels. Second key, finish the tackles. Now, with a better pass rush, and also the improvements that we made on the outside, still trying to figure out exactly the Flott and Tay Banks dynamic. We got the news yesterday that Flott will be starting, but it's going to be like a rotation where Banks possibly comes in on third downs. Like, I really don't like the idea of having your cornerbacks rotate depending on downs. I'd rather have them rotate on who's playing the best. But again, it is what it is. We'll see what actually happens tomorrow. It could be a bunch of smoke that they're blowing, right? But just with this defense alone, you add Polson and Debo, you added Javon Holland, you got another year Tyler Nubin. You got guys that are fighting for a spot at CB2. I think the secondary holds up. I think we do play that Shane Bowen type of defense where you get pressure with the front 4. You might see a slot blitz. You might see a safety blitz here and there, possibly just to get that added pressure. Maybe a linebacker shoots up the A-gap for a blitz, but I don't think you'll see that consistently, depending on what happens, though. Especially if we're getting pressure with 4, you're probably going to just let your linebackers play freely. But, man, I feel good about this defense. Again, with what we saw in the preseason, what we see on paper. Am I believing the hype a little bit with sports media? Possibly so. But even before the national media believed in the New York Giants, we believed in the New York Giants as fans. Now, flipping it to the offensive side, right? Our offense. Again, question marks when it comes to the offensive line. Is Andrew Thomas playing now? I'm already prepared to not see Andrew Thomas for a few weeks. And the biggest thing that people have been debating as far as Giants fans is whether or not to start. Whether or not to start Marcus Bowe, and a lot of people are pushing against that. And it actually surprised me that a lot more people are pushing against starting Marcus Bowe versus James Hudson. But again, we'll see what happens. James Hudson is making the most money. He has the most experience when it comes to the NFL. But I feel like from what I saw this summer that Marcus Bowe is the better player at any side of tackle rather than James Hudson. But I just think with the veteran experience, he will be put out there first. But I do think that the leash is short for James Hudson. If he's not able to protect, if he's not able to get a push in the running game, all of those things, penalties, then I think they go to Marcus Bowe, and they might go to Marcus Bowe early. Outside of that, establishing the run. Mike Kafka officially calling the plays. We kind of knew that already. But establishing the run. We have to establish the run and not get away from it too early. Last year or in years prior, we had a tendency to get away from the run if it wasn't working. When you have a guy like Tyrone Tracy, you add a guy like Cam Scatterbo, who we haven't really seen yet, except for a handful of plays in the last preseason game. You have to get these guys involved, not in just the running game, but also the passing game as well. And then obviously you have Malik Neighbors and him being unguardable. I don't care who's on the other side. If we can have a clean pocket, Malik Neighbors is going to get open. If they bracket Malik Neighbors, guess what? You have Darius Slate, you have Wan'Dale Robinson underneath. I'm hoping and praying that Jalen Hyatt has an appearance and actually, put some plays together in the game. Because if he can do some things, that makes it even better. Because even right now, a lot of people are over Jalen Hyatt. And I understand that you're over Jalen Hyatt. Why is this guy on the team? I understand why you feel that way. But guess what? He's on the team. And as long as he's on the team, let's go ahead and root for this guy to make plays. Because if he can contribute, if he can get attention from the safety, if he can get shadowed a little bit, guess what? That helps everybody else. That helps Neighbors. That helps Wan'Dale Robinson. That helps Slayton, depending on the wide receiver package. But it also helps the tight ends. And that's going to be the main point of my keys to victory for the New York Giants. Obviously, you love the wide receivers. We have to get the tight ends involved, and we got to get them involved early. Attacking the seams, especially against this defense. We need to attack the seams. And I told people, I guess it was 2 weeks ago, my first play of the game, if Theo Johnson is healthy enough to play, and he did practice, I'm running the tight end screen maybe on the first play of the game, because I think that the Commanders are going to come out aggressive, especially on the first play of the game. They're going to try to get after Russ. They're going to try to test this offensive line. If we can soften them up with a little bit of a tight end screen, kind of like what Jackson Dart did in the preseason, I believe the second preseason game, that'd be a nice play to run. Because obviously everybody, Tyrone Tracy up the middle, we're trying to push the ball, run the ball, set the tone and stuff like that. I don't know if I believe that too much. I don't know if I believe that. Can they go short game with a wide receiver screen or smoke screen or something like that? That's something that could possibly happen. But I think that tight end screen sets the tone for the game, because again, you got somebody coming in aggressive. You use that against them. Get the tight end out there to make some plays after the catch. So that'll be what I would do. We'll see what happens tomorrow. I'm curious to see if that happens. But overall, stick to the run, protect the quarterback. Quarterback got to be on time. Trust your eyes. It's Russ. Push the ball when you need to push the ball. Keep the defense honest. But if we can do that, Kafka calls a good game. I think the New York Giants can absolutely beat the Washington Commanders. I'll get into a score prediction. Just trying to think about it now. And again, when you think about the Commanders, they won a lot of games in like shootouts last year. I think this game might be similar, but I'm not thinking a 30-something point game for each team. I'm thinking mid-20s, most likely, with like a 24-21 victory for the New York Giants. That's what I'm thinking. 24-21, maybe 24-17 type victory for the New York Giants. I will say this, though. I think it's going to be important for us to start, playing with the lead, especially on offense. If you want to take full advantage of what this pass rush could be, you got to put some points up. You got to get Washington playing from behind. And I think that'll be one of the keys to victory as well. And it's not even anything difficult. Like anybody will tell you that. Score points and stop them from scoring points. That's football. Run the ball and stop them from running the ball. The keys to victory have not changed in over 100 years when it comes to football. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Again, I have the New York Giants winning. I'll say a score of 24-17. I like that score. We set the tone for the season, and then we move on to the game next week. But again, let me know what you guys think. And with that being said, I want to thank everybody for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. Let's go.